Chapter 7, Showtime. Later that night, silvery moonlight filtered through the trees and into the graveyard. All was still and silent. A creepy fog slithered around the tombstones. An owl hooted. Drake, Nell, and Dr. Livingston watched from the back row as Sloane waved her arms, sprinkled, glittered, and chanted her magic words. Suddenly, the ghost appeared and clanked its change. "Ooh, I am the ghost of Mossy Lake." But the audience, instead of screaming, instead of covering their eyes in terror, instead of digging in their pockets for all their money, began to laugh. That's right, laugh. Because written with ketchup on the front of the ghost sheets was the words, "I am a fake." This was the moment Nell had been waiting for. Out of her pocket, she took the fragment of ketchup-y sheet that Dr. Livingston had brought her the night before and held it to his nose. "Fetch," she whispered in his ear. Dr. Livingston bounded out of his chair, trotted to the shed, and disappeared through the open doorway. Suddenly, before the audience, a ghostly dog appeared on the scene with the ghost. The dog, looking amazingly like Dr. Livingston, grabbed the ghost sheet with its teeth and pulled. "Shoo!" shrieked the ghost. "Bad dog! Let go of my sheet! You're ruining everything!" But it was too late. Dr. Livingston pulled the ghost out of the shed and, of course, out of the scene as well. Now the dog and the ghost stood outside the shed, looking not so ghostly as before. In fact, they looked downright normal. Nell and Drake ran to help Dr. Livingston. Nell whipped the sheet off the ghost's head. "Behold," she cried, "the ghost of Mossy Lake!" And there, of course, stood Frisco. "Rats, foiled again," he said, scowling. "Hey, no fair," someone yelled. "I want my money back. Fake. Boo. Hiss." Drake held up his hands for silence. The crowd quieted. "What you have just witnessed is an old theater trick called Pepper's Ghost. Allow my partner, Scientist Nell, to explain." "It's quite simple, really," said Nell. "Not for me," said Frisco, frowning. "Took months of research and sneaking around after dark." Nell unrolled the diagram she had drawn. Drake held the diagram while Nell shone a flashlight on it and explained. "To make the trick work, you must use light and glass. In this case," Drake hollered from behind the diagram, "a sheet of plastic that looks like glass works just as well." "Indeed," agreed Nell. "When Frisco turned on the empty slide projector in the shell, it lit him up. The light was projected from him to the sheet of plastic, which is in front of all of you, except that you can't see it." "Believe me," Drake assured them, "it's there. You, as the audience, saw the lighted ghost." Reflected off the plastic surface, while at the same time you saw through the plastic to what lay behind it," Nell continued. "But reflection isn't really the right word," commented Drake. Shaking her head, Nell said, "No, indeed, Detective Doyle. Not the right word at all, because reflection is what happens at the surface of the glass, while what is really happening with Pepper's ghost occurs behind the glass. Imagine yourself looking into a mirror. You don't see yourself flattened on the mirror surface as in a photograph. Instead, you see yourself in a room behind the mirror." "Couldn't have said it better myself, Scientist Nell. While the light is reflected off the plastic glass, it behaves as if it were at a point in space behind the glass, creating a virtual image. That's why it looked like Sloane could walk through the ghost. The image of the ghost was behind the plastic." "Guess I'll have to drum up some other get-rich-quick scheme," mumbled Frisco. "You guys always ruin everything." Nell rolled up her diagram. "Show's over, Frisco. Frisco will happily refund your money." "Who said anything about happy?" complained Frisco. "Besides, it was Sloane's stupid idea." "Was not," said Sloane. "Was too," said Frisco. "Was not." "Was too." Nell and Drake left them to their arguing and headed back to the car with Dr. Livingston. "Finished?" asked Mr. Doyle as they climbed in. "Case solved," answered Nell with a satisfied sigh. "Thanks to Nell and her hunches," added Drake. "Couldn't have done it without her." "Ditto, Detective Doyle," and they shook hands for a job well done. Nell buckled her seatbelt and braced herself. "To my house, Mr. Doyle, and make it snappy." "Check!" Tires squealed as they disappeared into the night.